Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. Senate Chamber. Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.
The Senate will come to order. The senators will take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. Good morning, senators. The few there are of you. Good morning, guests. The senators and those of you in attendance, if you are able, please rise. We will be led in prayer this morning by the Reverend Brandon M. Samuel of the Chapel Midlothian in Midlothian, Virginia. Following the prayer, if everyone will please remain standing, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America by our Senate page, Juniper Mullaney of Charlottesville.
We bow together and pray. Father, thank you for today. This is the day the Lord has made, and we rejoice and are glad in it. Thank you that you're the giver of life. Thank you that we woke up this morning, God. Thank you that there's sunshine and no snow. Thank you for your goodness. We are so thankful for you. And Lord, we're thankful for the community we get to live in, the Commonwealth, and thankful for our country, God. We're thankful for freedom. We're thankful for the men and women that lead us and guide us and serve us. And so today we look to you for direction. We look to you for guidance. You said if any of us lacks wisdom, we could ask God and you would give it to us. And so I pray today for wisdom. You said that you direct the steps of those who seek you. And so I pray that the business that's done here and the decisions that are made and weighed would be led by you. You said that we should live peaceful and quiet lives and bring prayers for all those who are in authority. And so we honor them today, Lord. We pray everything that's said and done and all the decisions that are made point us to you and help us care well for one another. And we pray it all in the strong name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Tuesday, January 28, 2025.
The senator from Prince William, Senator Roan, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. Those in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 3.
Ayes 34, noes 3. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the House of Delegates. Chair calls on Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Buenos tardes, Madam President.
Sí, tardes.
Madam President, I move to waive reading of the communication from the House of Delegates.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 33, noes 3.
Ayes 33, noes 3. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the governor.
We do not have any, Madam President.
Chair recognizes, again, Senator Surville for the purposes of the privileges of the floor.
Madam President, we have a surprise today. Madam President, I move that we suspend the rules and so that we can grant the privileges of the floor to a certain distinguished person, former colleague.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the privileges of the floor granted to a distinguished person? All in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The rules are suspended. The privileges of the floor are granted. Chair recognizes the senator from Roanoke, Senator Suleline, for the purpose of presenting the distinguished guest.
Thank you, Madam President. Our special guest today, someone familiar to all of us. It's my former seatmate, the former junior senator from Virginia Beach, now Congresswoman Jen Kiggins. We're very glad to have her here today as she visits us from that other side of the river we heard so much about. So, Madam President, I hope we'll give the warm welcome of the Senate to our former colleague and current member of our federal delegation, Jen Kiggins.
We have arrived at the time in our morning hour when we will discover who all of our beautiful guests are in the gallery. And the normal procedure is your senator will rise and inform us of who you are. And when you hear your name or your organization called, please rise at that time so that we can see you. And then if you will hold your applause until after I have officially recognized you, then we'll applaud you together. And so with that, I do call on, again, Senator Suleline, the senator from Roanoke.
Thank you, Madam President. I have two introductions to make. Our first one.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Our first one is both the law partner and daughter of my seatmate, Mary Stewart, who was a Senate page, several of you remember, back in 2013, then went to UVA, and then graduated from the Mason Scalia Law School as well. I get to hear about how happy she has made her father by joining his law practice on a regular basis, and it's wonderful to have her here today.
Well, good morning to you. Well, no, it's afternoon. Good afternoon to you. And yes, I'm sure your father is so very proud of you, and we are as well. Senators, let us give her the warm welcome of her Senate. Again, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make another introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Today is a special day in the General Assembly. We have folks from all over Virginia here as part of the Virginia Museum community. I'm especially happy that a constituent of mine, Casey Jenkins, who's the Executive Director of the Virginia Associations of Museums, is here. We have over 800 museums here in the Commonwealth of Virginia celebrating history, science, literature, and so many different things, contributions made by people here. And it has a great financial impact here in the Commonwealth. We very much appreciate them being here today. And I just want to especially highlight both the Christiansburg and O. Winston Link Museum from my district. We have several others today. And so I'd like to give the warm welcome of the Senate to the Virginia Association of Museums.
Yes, thank you for being here. You know, you are the keepers of our history. You're the keepers of our information. And when we need reference, there you are. And so we are glad. And 800 museums. I don't think most people realize that there are that many in Virginia. But of course, history is where it all started, right here. Thank you so much for what you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The senior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeStaff.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, on behalf of myself, the senator from Hampton, and the rest of our senators in the chamber today, I rise to introduce a young man who has a very distinguished career. He's wearing blue up there. His name is astronaut Luke Delaney. A Florida native, he was selected by NASA to join the 2021 astronaut candidate class, reported for duty in January 2022. A distinguished naval aviator and test pilot. His career spans over 2 decades of service, including 22 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, including combat missions in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and over 400 sorties with more than 550 combat flight hours. He's earned his Naval Aviator wings in 2008 and later served as a test pilot and instructor at the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School, contributing to an advanced aviation systems. A graduate of the University of North Florida and Naval Postgraduate School, he transitioned to NASA Langley in 2022 as a research pilot, supporting airborne science missions with more than 3,900 flight hours across 48 aircraft models. His exceptional skills and leadership have earned him military honors and NASA Group Achievement Awards, to include graduating with honors, top 10% of the basic school Marine officers training, Commodore's List with distinction, Naval Flight Training, Meritorious Service Medal, Air Medal 7th Award, Naval and Marine Corps Accommodation Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal 3rd Award, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal, NATO Medal, ISIF for Afghanistan, and various other military service awards. Madam President, he lives in Florida with his wife, Tracy, 2 girls, and loves baseball. And on a side, he and his wife remodel old homes in their spare time. So with that, Madam President, I'd like to give astronaut Delaney the warmest welcome of the Senate.
What is the astronaut's rank, Senator?
Astronaut, Madam Chair.
I think he said that, sir, because you're a Marine and he's Navy. We have many veterans here, and we're very proud of you. And those of us who aren't veterans are especially proud of you. You repair homes in your spare time. When would that be, sir? And I suppose you have a box that you carry all those medals. It's just fabulous. But then the part I love is, you know, when we are here debating, we say this is not rocket science, but what you do is rocket science. So we're so glad that you are there. Senators, let us give this Marine a warm welcome of his Senate. Semper Fi. May you be safe as you traverse the heavens. Senator Pekarsky, the senator from Western Fairfax County.
Good afternoon, Madam President, and I rise for an introduction.
Good afternoon. The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. It is my privilege today to welcome the Northern Virginia Association of Realtors, represented in the Senate gallery by members of the leadership team and their 2025 Leadership Institute. They are joined in Richmond today by more than 80 realtors from across the Northern Virginia region for their 2025 Realtor Lobby Day. Please stand up so we can see you. And I just visited them with them before Florida Day, and I think there's more than 80 people here. They are out in full force. NVAR is the leading voice of real estate in Northern Virginia and beyond, promoting fair housing, professionalism, and business success among members, and preserving the ability of consumers to achieve the American dream of ownership. And many of us owe our home ownership experience to their hard work. With over 13,000 members, NVAR serves a community of more than 2.5 million residents, and their members produced $14 billion in transactions in 2024. I hope you all join me and give them a very warm welcome today.
Yes, thank you, realtors, for coming. And I know that you all are very particular about how your profession, it's not realtors, it's realtors. In the same way, there are not doctors, they're realtors. So thank you. Thank you for how you help us to build our great economy in Virginia. We do rest on your professionalism to help us with, some of us, the largest financial purchase we will ever make to help us create generational wealth. Thank you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Cyphers, the senator from Prince Edward.
Good afternoon, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
Good afternoon. The senator has the floor.
Madam President, joining us in the gallery and around the Capitol today is Cornerstone Christian Academy. Cornerstone Christian Academy is a K-12 private school located in my district in Appomattox, Virginia, serving approximately 200 students. The Academy is committed to providing a Christ-centered education that upholds academic excellence while nurturing the spiritual and intellectual growth of each student. At the heart of Cornerstone Christian Academy's mission is a dedication to assisting parents in the education and character development of their children. The school seeks to cultivate a love for learning, a foundation of moral integrity, and a strong sense of personal responsibility, all within a supportive Christian community. The Academy's approach is designed to not only impart knowledge, but to teach students how to think, how to learn, and how to apply their education in a way that honors God and serves their communities. By fostering a culture of excellence, faith, and intellectual curiosity, Cornerstone Christian Academy prepares students to become thoughtful, principled, and engaged members of society who are equipped to make a meaningful impact on the world. I would ask that we give these wonderful folks a warm welcome of the Senate.
To make a meaningful impact in the world. What a wonderful privilege to strive for. Thank you for all that you do. You are our future, and we hope to see even more of you as you continue to let us know about the things that matter to you. Thank you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Eben, the senator from Alexandria.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
On behalf of you, Madam President, and myself, I'd like to introduce some guests from Avdyne Aero Services, LLC. We've got with us today in the gallery, I believe, Gregory Hodge, Jonka Mason-Savage, Vanessa Butler, and Jerome Hodge. I want to acknowledge the outstanding achievements of Avdyne Aero Services, its distinguished organization with 25 years of excellent aircraft maintenance, repair, and overhaul services. They work with commercial airlines, cargo package carriers, and general aviation planes, and they embody the legacy and values of the Tuskegee Airmen and are proud members of that esteemed organization. Avdyne includes operations at major hubs like Reagan National Airport in Arlington, Washington Dulles International Airport, and Thurgood Marshall International Airport in Baltimore. And I wanted to ask that you extend to them the warm welcome in the Senate.
Thank you for coming. We understand that you are one of the very, very few minority-owned businesses in the aviation aerospace state. And we are so glad that you are there showing us and leading us the way, and that we don't have enough personnel for the future, and you're trying to train them, and we're so glad that you want to train the future. So thank you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Stanley, the senator from Franklin.
Good morning, Madam President.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Madam President, first, if I would ask, I have an announcement that I'd ask that the Senate Journal reflect that my seatmate, the senator from Orange, could not be here today. It's a lot more desk space, which I enjoy, but he's away on pressing personal business. And I also have an introduction.
Thank you, Senator. The Journal will so reflect, and you may continue with your introduction.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the body, above us in the gallery, we have some very special guests from my area, people that really make a difference in one of the greatest towns in all of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Hillsville. Today we have the town manager, Leanna Surratt, who is also with our great police chief, Shannon Goad, and his wonderful fiancee, Laura Sumner. Madam President, they are what makes that town great, along with its citizens. They are the heartbeat of Southwest Virginia, and I'm so proud to represent them and to also call them friend. So, Madam President, I would ask that today you extend to them the warmest welcome of the Senate.
We thank you for coming. Thank you, Chief, for keeping your town safe. Thank you for putting on the uniform every day. We know that you run to the danger while we are not. We are running in the opposite direction. And thank you, Madam Town Manager, for, well, your being in office and trying to make all of us better, especially in your neck of the woods. Thank you all. Thank you, fiance. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Surraville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, joining us in the gallery today, we have some students that are here from my district as part of the Polar Institute. The Polar Institute is a program that I named after my predecessor to this seat, or to my former seat before they changed the numbers around, Senator Toddy Polar. It's a program I've been doing since I was elected 16 years ago. It was inspired by my former delegate Chris Amundsen. But joining us in the gallery, we have Amari Bonham, Emma Herring, Abby Litowanjua, Mariah Adams, Kelvin Natim, Hartley Hayden, Nora McQuinn, Emmanuel Adejay, Madeline Kirchhoff, and their chaperones, former Fairfax County School Board Chair Karen Corbett Sanders, former delegate Chris Amundson, and their government teacher at West Potomac High School, Nicole Borghardt. This year, my participants have an average GPA of 4.0. They come from Hayfield, West Potomac, Mount Vernon, Bryant, South County High School. One of them is a volunteer firefighter. One's the class president. And Madam President, I just want to make clear, I had 82 applicants for this program this year, which is insane. I've never had anything close to that. But 82 high school students applied to come down here and visit. And Madam President, I believe they met with you earlier today, and they're going to hopefully see the governor tomorrow. They're learning all about Richmond and government and policy and what we do down here. And if any of you all see them, please take a moment to talk to them. We got a lot of questions, and they're going to be some future leaders, so hopefully they won't run against me at some point in the future. So, Madam President, I hope you give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you for coming. And whenever I see our future, wanting to be part of what's happening now so that you can be the best of our future, it always warms my heart. And so we're glad that you're taking stock and you're wanting to be part of all that we're doing here to understand how things work so that you, again, will be better informed as you grow into adulthood. So, Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Craig, the senator from Chesapeake.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Introduction?
And an introduction.
The senator.
Introduction. That works.
Introduction.
Yes,
the senator may
thank you.
continue.
All right. Today in the gallery, we have pro-life Virginia citizens from across the Commonwealth who have gathered at the General Assembly to meet with their representatives and advocate for the most vulnerable. Unborn children, their mothers, and families. They stand in representation of thousands of Virginians from communities across the state who share their commitment in protecting life. This marks the 4th year of Virginia Pro-Life Day, uniting individuals of all backgrounds, faiths, and political perspectives in a shared mission to advance laws in Virginia that affirm the irreplaceable value of every life. Madam President, I ask that we give them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you for coming. And as the senator has said, you advocate for the most vulnerable among us. And we are glad that you are there doing the work and letting us know about your views. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. Madam President, today I have the distinct honor and privilege of recognizing 5 esteemed individuals, 3 of whom are seated in the gallery today. They are the presidents of our historically black colleges and universities here in Virginia. Each of these institutions has shaped not only the history of our Commonwealth, but also the trajectory of countless lives across generations. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Javon Adams Gaston, president of Norfolk State University, Dr. Hakeem Lucas, president of Virginia Union University, Dr. Michaela Abdullah, president of Virginia State University, President Darrell Williams, president of Hampton University, and Dr. Kathy Franklin, president of Virginia University of Lynchburg. I think all of them might be here. The rest of them might be over in the House Gallery. Virginia's HBCUs were born from a time when the promise of education was withheld from so many. Yet they have emerged as beacons of opportunity, access, and excellence. They educate students from all walks of life, but remain steadfast in their mission to serve populations that have historically been underserved. Together, these institutions enroll thousands of students. And each year, producing the next generation of leaders, innovators, educators, and public servants. They provide transformative experiences and cultivate an enduring legacy of academic rigor and cultural pride. Leaders such as Booker T. Washington, Gladys West, the creator of the GPS, Reginald Lewis, the first black billionaire, Senator Henry Marsh, and Doug Wilder, our nation's first black governor, are all graduates of Virginia's HBCUs. If I had more time, Madam President, I could name many more. But I'm proud to stand here today as we honor these incredible institutions and presidents who lead them. Dr. Adams Gaston, Dr. Abdullah, Dr. Lucas, General Williams, and Dr. Franklin, thank you for your dedication to expanding opportunity, advancing equity, and ensuring that Virginia's HBCUs continue to be powerful forces for good in the lives of so many. As we deliberate on policies and budgets in this chamber, let us remember the immense value that HBCUs bring to our Commonwealth. Let us continue to champion investments that strengthen these institutions and the communities we serve. Please join me in thanking and celebrating these extraordinary leaders and the institutions they represent. Thank you, Madam President.
Indeed, I was looking up to be sure, because sometimes we hear people ask, why are HBCUs still relevant? And so what it comes back with is that because you provide a crucial pathway to higher education for black students, particularly those from low-income backgrounds, by offering affordable tuition, a supportive environment culturally, and a focus on retaining and graduating them where they might not thrive elsewhere. And so we are glad that you continue to fulfill the mission. And indeed, there are so very many reasons that I myself could not continue either. But suffice to say, long live the HBCUs. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Mulcahy, the senator from Mecklenburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. Please welcome the hardworking students and staff from Southside Virginia Community College. They'll rise if there they are. The students here today are representing the 10 counties and 4,200 square miles that SVCC serves throughout the beautiful Southside Virginia. I met with these students and their leaders today in my office, and I heard stories from young mothers that want to give their children a better life than they had, to a young man who wants to be a medical examiner so he can give a voice to those who don't have a voice, and stories, other amazing stories. And I told them my story from when I went to Southside Virginia Community College as an older adult that had to start over my life after 30 years of domestic violence. And my counselor wanted me to have something to ground me when I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And so she said, if you have nothing and you don't know what you're going to do with your life, then you should go to community college, because for one, if you don't have any money, it's pretty much free. And so I did what she told me, and it gave me somewhere to start over, a firm foundation. And so now I go around, and when I talk to these students, I said, all you need is community college and God, and you can start a great life over again. And so 10 years later, I told them just keep their feet where they are, and you can do great things with your life. And so they had the best stories, and never to let anybody put them down for starting at community college, because it's a great start. And they were just amazing students, and I commend them for being here and learning about their government, and I hope we'll give them the warmest welcome of the Senate.
Yes, students, I join the senator in saying I am also a non-traditional returning student to college, because I started my college career after I had 3 children under 5. And so that tells you you can certainly do this. And the community college system is a system that we are greatly needing and necessary, because it is partly foundational. So, senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Durant, the senator from Stafford.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for a motion and for 2 introductions.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the rules be suspended and SR 255 be taken up for immediate consideration.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and SR 225 be taken up for immediate consideration? All those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. The clerk will please read the title.
Senate Resolution 225, commending the Fredericksburg City Public Schools Youth Mental Health Task Force.
Senator Durant.
Madam President, I move the resolution be agreed to.
The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? Those in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise also for an introduction.
Senator Durant may continue.
Madam President, here with us today are the Fredericksburg City Public Schools Youth Mental Health Task Force, and I ask that they rise. There they are. Madam President, this is a really, really special group of kids and their adult leaders here. The Youth Mental Health Task Force, it's a dynamic and diverse group of 20 middle and high school students dedicated to raising awareness about mental health issues in their school community. Each member contributes a unique perspective and shaped by personal experiences and challenges they and their peers face. Madam President, I would love to share that this is, I think, a model that I would love that a lot of our other school districts and superintendents could watch and see and learn from them, because I think the power of the peers to be able to recognize when their friends might be in a little bit of trouble and might be at risk is a powerful tool. And so I would love to see more groups like this task force spread all across the Commonwealth. Their collective effort, their Youth Mental Health Force, is fostering a supportive, open environment where students can feel safe to discuss mental health concerns, they can seek help, and support one another. Their work is a testament to the power of youth-led advocacy and collaboration in building a healthier school community. Recently, the task force participated in the Superintendent's Roundtable, which focused on mental health needs in our schools. This experience provided them with a platform to share their perspectives and advocate for policy supporting mental health in schools. And both the Youth and Adult Task Force have made it possible by a tremendous grant from the city a couple years ago, and the school-based mental health grant was awarded to 8 school divisions in Virginia. So they have clearly made that investment well worth it, and I am so thrilled that we are able to welcome them here and ask that we give them a warm welcome of the Senate.
We thank you for coming, and this is your resolution. This is about you. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember just reading that, well, when it comes to our young girls, suicides are up 165%, and depression is up among our young boys 140-some%. And so because you are their peers. And while we didn't have social media, which is most of the impetus of all this, you do. We were just told, turn the TV off and go outside and play, get some sunshine. But you have this computer that is fabulous and fascinating, but it can be detrimental. So don't believe everything you see on the internet, as we now know. Thank you for wanting to help to change things. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Again, Senator Durant. Your mic, Senator.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for another introduction.
The senator may continue.
Thank you. Madam President, in the gallery today, we have members from the American Heritage Girls Group, and I would ask that they stand. There they are. Madam President, celebrating their 30th anniversary this year, the American Heritage Girls is a Christ-centered character and leadership development program for girls ages 5 to 18. The American Heritage Girls is dedicated to the mission of building women of integrity through service to God, family, community, and country. There are over 60 troops meeting across the Commonwealth, serving hundreds of girls and benefiting our communities. For example, for their National Day of Service, in honor of pro-life mission, girls collected 30,000 diapers to donate to organizations supporting families in their communities. They've collected over 4,000 pairs of eyeglasses to improve the vision of those in need. Today, we have 25 senior girls known as Pioneers and Patriots, representing 11 Virginia troops from Stafford, Fredericksburg, Charlottesville, Gloucester, Centerville, Hayes, Virginia, Beach, Staunton, King George, and Winchester. I ask that we give them a warm welcome of the Senate.
Good afternoon, girls. Thank you for coming. Thank you for wanting us to know all about you and the issues that are important to you. And thank you for your service to your community. That is most certainly important because, well, service above self. There is always sacrifice in life, and when you do that, I think you will feel more fulfilled to consider your neighbor. So thank you again for coming. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. The senator from Colonial Heights, Senator Sturdivant.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, joining us in the gallery today are members of the College Republicans of Virginia, as well as their chairman, Kara Pocono. They are here meeting with legislators at the Capitol, doing a great job supporting campaigns around Virginia, and I hope we'd offer them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of our political process and for letting your voice be heard and wanting to be chair. That's a big duty. Senators, let us give her the warm welcome of her Senate. Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Joining us in the gallery today are representatives from the Virginia Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. More than 100 dietitians and students from across the Commonwealth are visiting the Capitol to advocate for their profession and the patients they serve. The organization represents more than 2,500 dietitians who support patients in a variety of settings, including hospitals, nursing homes, athletic institutions, and individual nutritional consultations. The group is visiting lawmakers today to educate us on the importance of their work and to hope that we make sound policies to promote a healthier Commonwealth. I hope it is the will of the Commonwealth to actually, or the will of the Senate, to welcome this wonderful group. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you all for coming. And, you know, nutrition is one of those things, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have good health, well, you have nothing. Because you want to be able to live and to live a healthy life. So thank you for what you do. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator French, the senator from Shenandoah.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, joining us today in the gallery is the Blue Ridge Association of Realtors. I ask if they please stand. The Blue Ridge Association serves the areas of Winchester City, Frederick County, Warren County, Clark County. The association was admitted to the Virginia Association of Realtors as members at large in 1941 and was chartered by the National Association of Realtors on March 20th, 1961 by 19 real estate professionals with the goal of adopting standard code of ethics and providing better service to the public. Blue Ridge, along with its state and national counterparts, make up the largest and oldest professional trade group in the nation. They are advocates for everyone who owns or hopes to own real estate. They are the guardians for the right to own private property, and they do this through educational programs and governmental legislative assistance on local, state, and national levels. And on a side note, Madam President, my mother's first public job, well, I guess a public job, was a real estate agent. She then became a broker, so it's a near and dear association to me. So I hope that it be the pleasure of this body to give them a warm welcome.
Indeed, full disclosure, was part of the Blue Ridge Association of Realtors, and it was a wonderful time there. And so we're glad that you contribute to our economy. Indeed, you are foundational to our economy. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Again, Senator Mulcahy, the senator from Mecklenburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Today, we are pleased to welcome board members and staff from Virginia Ed Strategies here in Richmond. If you guys will rise. Virginia Ed Strategies has brought over $45 million in federal funding with a focus on supporting rural school divisions. Virginia Ed Strategies works with K through 12 business and community stakeholders to assist schools in improving academic and career outcomes for students. Simply put, Virginia Ed Strategies has cracked the code on interpreting business needs for K through 12 education. Their current work centers on providing teachers with choice, allowing teacher-directed professional learning opportunities for over 1,000 pre-K through 12 teachers across the Commonwealth. I'm very proud that Virginia Ed Strategies was founded in my district in Halifax, Virginia, and even more proud that they continue to excel at meeting the needs of both the education and business sector. Please join me in welcoming Virginia Ed Strategies to the Capitol.
Thank you for coming, and we know that everything progresses with innovation, and certainly education does as well. The old ways are not always going to work any longer, and we have to change with the times, and thank you for being there and helping to do that to the tune of millions of dollars we might not have gotten had you not been part of this whole equation. So thank you. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Senator Diggs, the senator from York.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the journal reflect that my seatmate, the senator from Tazewell, is away today on pressing personal business.
The journal will so reflect, Senator. Is there any other business to come for the morning hour? Senator DeSteff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, today joining us on the Capitol grounds, we're joined by more than 100 members of the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association, representing all of the new car and truck dealers of Virginia. There are over 450 new car and truck dealership members, and the VADA employs over 32,000 of our Virginia constituents and represents one of the largest segments of the retail segment of our economy. Today, they'll be visiting their leaders and legislators to talk about the franchise system and how it benefits all of us in the Commonwealth. Virginia adopted its auto dealer franchise system in the mid-'60s and will consider changes to those laws during this session. Please welcome me in joining our new car dealers to the Capitol grounds today. Thank you.
If you are here, please stand. Well, we do know that they contribute quite a bit to Virginia's economy, billions of dollars in finances, and of course, thousands of jobs where people can be employed and themselves contribute. So we are grateful for their industry. Senators, let us give them the round welcome of their Senate. Any other business for the morning hour? The clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Wednesday, January 29, 2025. Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on third reading.
Senator Saravel, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move the Senate bills on third reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 1 through 9, Senate Bill 758 through 1442 be placed on their final passage in a block. Any senator desiring to move bill from the block shall do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 9, Senate Bill 758 through Senate Bill 1442, be placed upon their final passage in the block with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will now read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 758, Senate Bill 773, Senate Bill 816, Senate Bill 817, Senate Bill 833, Senate Bill 871, Senate Bill 940, Senate Bill 1005, Senate Bill 1219.
Madam President,
For what purpose does the senator from Roanoke rise?
can Senate Bill 1219 come out of the block and by for the day?
Without objection, Senate Bill 1219 is out of the block and by for the day.
Senate Bill 1317, Senate Bill 1336, Senate Bill 1337, Senate Bill 1340, Senate Bill 1369, Senate Bill 1372, Senate Bill 1374, Senate Bill 1375, Senate Bill 1385, Senate Bill 1391, Senate Bill 1442,
The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? That is, all bills except Senate Bill 1219 on page 6, which is out of the block and by for the day. Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on third reading. Senate Bill 1998, a bill relating to Virginia Reproductive and Gender Affirming Health Care Protection Act established prohibition or extradition for certain crimes penalties.
Senator Hashmi, the senator from Richmond City.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask that SB 1098 go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1098 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 1331, a bill relating to Juvenile Domestic Relations District Court juvenile intake school notification.
The senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Under current Virginia law, when a police officer takes a case to the intake officer at the juvenile court, there are a number of offenses that are required to be reported upon authorization of that petition to the superintendent of the local school system. And what this bill does is add 2 offenses to that list of offenses which require reporting to the superintendent. One of them is carjacking, which is an offense that when this bill was first created pretty much did not exist. Unfortunately, now it does. The other one is sexual extortion. This is not to be confused with sexting. This is where an individual has perhaps pictures of someone of a sexual nature and then tells the individual who they have the pictures of that unless they have sex with them, then they would release the pictures. And this is especially important because the victim here is probably likely to be at the same school as the youngster who was charged. And there could very well, as you know, with abusive situations, very often this is not the first victim. So it's very important for the superintendent to know. What that superintendent does with the information is up to him or her, so whether they release it to the school or whatever. But these are offenses of great harm, and they fit very well with the category of offenses that are currently reportable. And so I reiterate my motion that the bill pass to add carjacking and sexual extortion to the list of reportable offenses from the juvenile court to the local school superintendent. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 30, noes 8.
Ayes 30, noes 8. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 776, a bill relating to enforcement of federal traffic violations by state and local law enforcement officers, photo speed monitoring devices, Planning District 8.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax County, Senator Somerville.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass and speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So this bill applies to a whole 22 miles of roadway in Fairfax County. Doesn't have anything to do with anybody else, but it has to do with the George Washington Memorial Parkway, which is it's a national park that was built back in, the original road was built back in the 1930s as a road to get from D.C. down to George Washington's house in Mount Vernon. Since then, it's become a major commuter thoroughfare along the river. But it's policed by the United States Park Service, the United States Park Police. In our community, basically, the park police have basically vanished, and there's been a lot of speeding. There's accidents weekly, and basically what the bill does is it takes the approach what's called the Federal Assimilative Crimes Act, which is how we apply state law on military bases, and flips it around so that Fairfax County Police or Virginia State Police can charge violations of the Code of Federal Regulations. That's how they enforce the speeding codes and all that kind of stuff on the parks. So our local and state police can enforce the law. That's basically what the bill does. It also authorizes these either Fairfax County Police Department or the Virginia State Police to install speed cameras on the road if the National Park Service agrees. The National Park Service would like to do it, but the problem is all their money goes to the federal general fund, and they don't want to do it unless they get to keep the money, and they can't. So the Park Service won't do anything. So it's basically a very local piece of home cooking. It applies again to 22 miles of road. None of you are going to hear about this because the only person it affects in this chamber is me. So I would hope we could pass the bill, Madam President, to make this small segment of road a lot safer for the people who traverse it, especially a lot of tourists. I just want to note the Mount Vernon Estate is the #1 historic tourist asset in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Over 1 million people a year visit it. It's important this road stays safe. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator from Roanoke, Senator Suderline.
Madam President, speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I oppose this legislation just like I so frequently do dealing with cameras. I'm not enthusiastic about speed cameras or other use of cameras in law enforcement as where it's going. But it was interesting to hear our majority leader speaking about using local and state authorities to run federal law enforcement following yesterday's comments. So maybe a few other people might want to join in opposition today in light of that. Thank you, Madam President.
The senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Thank you, Madam President. Would the senator from Eastern Fairfax yield for a question?
Will the senator from Eastern Fairfax rise and yield?
Happy to yield.
The senator yields. The senator from Hanover has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I'd ask the gentleman if the speed cameras that would be authorized by this statute were actually installed, who would have ability to access them? Would it be federal law enforcement, local law enforcement, or state law enforcement?
Senator from Eastern Fairfax has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The statute that was amended is 882.1, which is the existing photo speed monitoring device statute, and so it wouldn't be any different than any other speed monitoring device in the Commonwealth. So if you want, I can go read that and answer your question, but I haven't read it in a while.
Madam President.
Further question.
Yes, Madam
The
President.
Senator.
I'll yield.
The senator from Eastern Fairfax yields. Senator from Hanover has the floor.
Madam President, the reason I asked the question is those other cameras would be on state or local property. This would be on what is federal property. So does that give a different group of individuals the ability to access those cameras and the data from those cameras?
Senator Surville has the floor.
Madam President, it shouldn't operate any differently than any other camera that we already have, because it doesn't change that statute at all. Simply because the camera happens to be on a federal national park instead of a state park doesn't, I don't think, change how this existing code section 462.882.1 works. So if you have a concern about speed cameras and their data generally, I could see there being an issue with this, but there's nothing special about putting them here that changes how that data flows.
Thank the gentleman.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 25, noes 13.
Ayes 25, noes 13. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 995, a bill relating to real estate appraisers' educational requirements for licensure, fair housing, and appraisal bias course.
The senator from Norfolk, Senator Williams Graves.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 995 requires applicants for appraisal licensures to complete an anti-discrimination training course approved by the Fair Housing Board as part of their training to become an appraiser. This ensures that Virginia law aligns with the new appraiser qualification criteria created by the Appraisal Foundation that goes into effect January 1, 2026. It received bipartisan support in committee. I hope that still is the case. I move that we pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 2.
Ayes 35, noes 2.
Rule 36-1.
Rule 36-1, the bill passes.
Senate Bill 1233, a bill relating to pedestrian crossing violation monitoring systems and stop sign violation monitoring systems, violation enforcement, civil penalty.
Again, Senator Williams Graves.
Madam President, I move that SB 1233 go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1233 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 1402, a bill relating to transient occupancy tax administration.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Madam President, I move the bill pass and speaking to the bill.
Senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Those of you who were serving about, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, might recall the big Airbnb, VRBO bill. I think the former Minority Leader, Senator Norman, carried. When we passed that legislation, there was a lot of consternation about exactly how the data relating to TOT, temporary occupancy taxes, hotel taxes, was going to flow from Airbnb owners back to the commissioners of revenue, and there was concern about data privacy and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, this bill resolves that whole fight. The commissioners of revenue have they had a workaround they were doing. There's federal law that says how data can be shared, and the workaround they've been doing for like the last 3 years is they send an audit letter to the Airbnb every year, which then causes Airbnb to send them the info they want. Anyways, this bill puts privacy protections in the Virginia Code in a way that satisfies federal law, so that now this data can flow without violating federal law, and it resolves that whole big drama thing. And the Commissioners of Revenue Association now supports the bill. This basically makes it a lot more efficient, and so that we can collect TOT taxes from Airbnb and VRBO and these, vacation rental by owner, whatever, all those kinds of services. So I hope we could pass the bill to sort of simplify and expedite the way these taxes are paid.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 2.
Ayes 36, noes 2. The bill passes.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on second reading.
Senator Surville.
Madam President, I move that all the Senate bills on second reading and uncontested calendars on pages 12 through 13, Senate Bill 942 to 1444, be advanced to their engrossment and third reading in a block. Any senator desiring to move the bill from the block shall do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 12 and 13, Senate Bill 942 through Senate Bill 1444, be engrossed and advanced to their third reading in the block, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 942, reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Senator DeSteff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Madam President, I move the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1008, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. Senate Bill 1128, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1263, reported from the Committee on Local Government. Senate Bill 1444, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed and advanced to their third reading? All in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are engrossed and advanced to their third reading. Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County. We're pulling them through.
Second reading uncontested.
Third reading. We're pulling them through.
We're going to do that today. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Madam President. This is what we talked about yesterday, Madam President. I move that all the Senate bills now on third reading on the uncontested calendar, pages 12 through 13, Senate Bill 942 to Senate Bill 1444, that the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third reading of the titles of the bills be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. The bills are now before the Senate on final passage. Senator Surville.
Madam President, I move that all the Senate bills now on third reading on the uncontested calendar, pages 12 through 13, Senate Bill 942 to 1444, be placed on their final passage in the block. Any senator desiring to move bill from the block shall do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar now on third reading, pages 12 and 13, Senate Bill 942 through Senate Bill 1444, be placed upon their final passage in the block with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bills? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are again before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 942, Senate Bill 1008, Senate Bill 1128, Senate Bill 1263, Senate Bill 1444.
The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on second reading. Senate Bill 932, a bill relating to zoning development and use of accessory dwelling units. Reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendments and from the Committee on Local Government with a substitute.
Senator Salim, the senator from Central Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I have two separate motions, but Madam President, with the recommendation that the amendment be rejected, I move that the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, with the recommendation that it be rejected, shall the committee amendments from local government be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments from local government are rejected. Senator Salim.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute from local government now be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Salim.
Madam President, I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1220, a bill relating to carrying concealed weapons exceptions penalty. Reported from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations with a substitute.
Senator DeSteff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Madam President, I move that Senate Bill 1220 get recommitted to courts.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 1220 be recommitted, re-referral, to courts? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. Senate Bill 1220 is re-referred to courts.
Senate Bill 899, a bill relating to zoning data centers water use. Reported from the Committee on Local Government with a substitute.
The senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Stewart.
Move the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 974, a bill relating to subdivision ordinance plan review by designated agent. Reported from the Committee on Local Government with a substitute.
Senator Van Valkenburg, the senator from Western Enrico.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Van Valkenburg.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill be engrossed and passed on to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1449, A bill relating to siting of data centers, site assessment, high energy use facility. Reported from the Committee on Local Government with the substitute.
Senator Eben, the senator from Alexandria.
I move the committee substitute be adopted.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted. Senator Eben.
I move the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1460, a bill relating to issuance of writ of vacatur for victims of human trafficking. Reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice.
Senator Locke, the senator from Hampton.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that Senate Bill 1460 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1476, a bill relating to sale of certain vacant and blighted or derelict property. Reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendment.
Senator Pillion, the senator from Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee amendments be agreed to.
We have a pink errata sheet on your desk, too.
That just has everything. I don't need to say that, too.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The errata sheet is agreed to.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
Senator Surraville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move all the Senate bills on the first reading on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 17 through 32, Senate Bill 741 through 1394, that the rules be suspended, the first constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles of Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 17 through 32, Senate Bill 741 through Senate Bill 1394, be dispensed with? Those in favor of that motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator Surraville.
Madam President, I move the bills go by for the day.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on second reading go by for the day? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, Senate joint resolutions on third reading.
Again, Senator Surraville.
Madam President, I move that the Senate joint resolutions on third reading, uncontested calendar on pages 33 through 34, Senate Joint Resolution 255 to 278 be placed on their final passage in the block. Any senator desiring to move the resolution from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution.
The question is, shall the Senate joint resolutions on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 33 and 34, Senate Joint Resolution 255 through Senate Joint Resolution 278, be placed upon their final passage in the block, with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution to be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution. Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the resolution.
Senate Joint Resolutions 255. Senate Joint Resolution 262. Senate Joint.
For what purpose does the senator from King George rise?
I apologize. Could 262 come out of the block?
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 262 is out of the block.
Senate Joint Resolution 269. Senate Joint Resolution 278.
The question is, shall the resolutions in the block be agreed to? That is, all resolutions except Senate Joint Resolution 262 on page 33, which is out of the block. All in favor of agreeing to the resolutions will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions in the block are agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 262.
Senator Aird, the senator from Eastern and Rico.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Joint Resolution 262, I hope we can agree to it. It is to
Your motion, Senator?
Move to
Agree
to the resolution.
Yes, ma'am. Senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. Ultimately, the resolution is to allow JLARC to conduct an assessment of whether or not we should have a rural cabinet secretariat.
The question is, shall Senate Joint 262 be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Joint Resolution 262 is agreed to.
Regular calendar, Senate Joint Resolutions on third reading. Senate Joint Resolution 251, directing the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Commission to study the removal of certain books from public school libraries. Report.
The senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that Senate Joint Resolution 251 be agreed to, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. SJR 251 simply asks JLARC to take a look at what books have been removed from school libraries since 2020, July 1, 2020. This is in order to make a more comprehensive look at what is happening across the Commonwealth as it relates to the removal of books from public school libraries. And JLARC will survey each school division in the Commonwealth to identify which school divisions removed any books from a library in any of its public schools based upon the book's contents. And again, I move that Senate Joint Resolution 251 be agreed to.
The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 253, establishing a joint subcommittee to study the consolidation and scheduling of general elections in Virginia. Report.
Senator Saravell, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Madam President, I move the resolution be agreed to, and speaking to the motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this resolution would put together a joint subcommittee of House and Senate members to study two things. One is whether we should consolidate federal and state general elections. And then secondly, if we choose or think that's a good idea, how we would do it. So a little bit of background. We're one of only 4 states in America that has our elections for the state legislature outside of the federal cycle. This dates back, as I said yesterday, to 1851. And from my point of view, it was likely just an historical accident as opposed to an intentional change to try to do something different than the federal cycle. There's a lot of politics going on back then, which I can get into between the east and the western parts of this state, but which I've recently become enlightened to, having read about it, but I'm not going to bore you with that. But having elections in this odd every single year in Virginia, I think many of us believe that contributes to voter apathy, voters being worn out from constantly being subject to election information. As you all know, turnouts when we tend to be on the ballot in this chamber tend to be about 50% of what they are when we have an election for president, and many of us believe that's a bad thing. The other thing I just want to cite is that campaign spending in this state has just gone exponential in the last decade. Just to give you a sense of it, in 2011, $37 million was spent in the Senate campaign cycle between our 2 caucuses. In 2023, it was $112 million. So spending has gone up by almost 4 times, and a big part of that is because campaigns have to reinvent an entire campaign when you run outside the federal cycle. You run the federal cycle, you can piggyback on a lot of their efforts. And so having our elections in these opposite years tends to create a lot more need to raise money and all that. And I don't know about y'all, but I'd rather spend my time legislating than raising money. And I think we could also save taxpayers a lot of money having the elections at the same time instead of doing them every single year. So, again, we're going to look at this, I hope. And if we do it, it gets really complicated because you have to figure out who gets an extra year, or whether you shorten a term, whether we go to 5-year terms or 3-year terms, whether the governor goes 3 or 5. You have to figure out what to do about local elections. And there's a whole transition that has to happen. If it were to happen, it'd probably take about 8 years from today. So in any event, this is just a way to study it. I would hope we can study it. I think the voters, when I talk to people who aren't here, they think it's a wonderful idea. They're sick of elections and they're sick of politics. And hopefully something good will come of this. But I would hope we could pass the resolution so at least we could take a look at it. Thank you, Madam President.
The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The resolution is agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 258, directing the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Commission to update a 2016 study of the impact of regulations on Virginia's manufacturing sector report.
Senator Williams Graves, the senator from Norfolk.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that Senate Joint Resolution 258 be agreed to, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you. This Senate Joint Resolution directs the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Commission to update the 2016 study of the impact of regulations on Virginia's manufacturing sector. When this report was initially instituted, it was designed to be updated every 5 years. It has not been updated since 2016. It was passed by in 2021 due to COVID. And so, seeing as how we have so many changes in manufacturing and so many changes in the requirements for manufacturing, the Manufacturing Commission that I chair is asking for an update. So I renew my motion that the bill be agreed to.
The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The resolution is agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 259, directing the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Commission to study the methodology used to determine judicial allocations within the Commonwealth report.
Senator Sorovell, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the resolution pass, and speaking to that motion.
Agreed to, sir?
Sure, I move that be agreed to. Speaking to that.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, those of you who've been around for, 15 years now might recall that back during the Great Recession, when we put a pause on filling judgeships, the money committees decided the best way to try to allocate judgeships in the state was to do this weighted caseload study through the National Center for State Courts out of Williamsburg to try to get the politics out of it. And they'd come up with this method. We actually held a hearing this summer to ask them about what they were doing before they did it. And that whole hearing, I think, raised more questions than answers about whether or not they were accurately measuring how much time judges were spending in court versus not, and whether the case measures were being weighed equally relative to the various jurisdictions. They ended up coming out with their results about 3 months ago, and shockingly, they ended up recommending that we actually delete over 12 circuit court judgeships, delete 4 general district court judgeships, and add 6 juvenile court judgeships. Results made no sense to a lot of us. Some of us, some people made it made sense. Most of us were really kind of surprised that's what it suggested. Including, for example, Prince William County, they suggested we delete 2 circuit court judgeships about a year after we added one, which was justified by the data. Recommended we delete 2 in Norfolk, which was kind of surprising, I'm sure, to the senator from Norfolk. actually 3 overall from Norfolk, by the way. But in any event, it's pretty clear now that some of the clerks and some of the circuit courts have figured out how to manipulate their numbers in order to game the system to get judgeships allocated to them. And some systems haven't sort of figured out how to game their numbers, and they're not being allocated judgeships. In any event, the idea of this is to have JLARC take a look at this study to make sure that things are being accurately measured, to make sure that the data being provided is accurate, to make sure that what we're doing is actually fair. The Supreme Court, I know OES has some serious concerns about the way we've been doing it. We had the way you guys don't see all the backside of this, but the Judicial Council and the District Court Committee certified judgeships, and we get presentations in the off year, and we got a presentation this year that raised some serious questions about the accuracy of data. We actually the Supreme Court sent a fact-finding team in to try and verify the data, which again raised more questions than answers. And if we're going to do these judgeships correctly, we need to do them correctly. And getting JLARC to look at this, we think, is the way to get the best neutral system we can. So we're not fighting as much about who gets a judge and who doesn't. So I hope we could take a look at this. And I know there's not unanimity on this, but I think this is the best way to try and resolve the current quagmire we have. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has it.
The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The resolution is agreed to.
#63, requesting the Department of Transportation to study the need and options for constructing a bridge from Surrey County to James City County or Charles City County. Report.
The senator from Eastern Enrico, Senator Aird.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the resolution be agreed to.
Senator may continue.
Thank you. Madam President, just as the resolution says in the title, this is ultimately an opportunity for Surrey to have an assessment conducted as to whether or not a bridge should be constructed, the best place for that bridge to be constructed, and any additional environmental considerations that need to be had.
Senator McDougal, the senator from Hanover.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking against the resolution.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I know that we each have citizens in our jurisdictions that feel strongly about things, but I've heard from a lot in James City recently, and that is James City is, as you probably are well aware, site to a couple places that you might have heard about. One of them being Jamestown along the James River. It's not only Jamestown Settlement, but Jamestown Island. And the Board of Supervisors and many of the constituents have expressed grave concerns about the historic nature of Jamestown and the land across the river and of building a new bridge. Right now, the process is a ferry goes from one side of the river to the other, runs every day, and many of the people in James City feel very strongly that to preserve the historic nature of not only Jamestown and Jamestown Island, but that portion of the river, that it needs to remain that way.
Senator Aird.
Madam President, speaking further to the passage of the resolution.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, I would just say that this resolution was amended in the Rules Committee to make it very clear that all we are looking for is a clear assessment. I do also understand that there is a variety of opinions of how a bridge from Surrey might affect other neighboring localities. Unfortunately, Surrey has suffered significant population loss. They are trying to attract new industry and new business, but because of this transportation barrier, they have had a hard time doing so. We just want to make sure that if there is an opportunity for a bridge to be constructed, we allow the Virginia Department of Transportation to do their work and take a good hard look. This is not committing to anything for certain, but this is allowing us to conduct that assessment. And as it relates specifically to Jamestown, again, VDOT will make an assessment as to whether or not there would be harms done and also consider other locations where a bridge could be connected to. So again, I move passage of the resolution.
The question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The resolution is agreed to. Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax County.
Inquiry of the clerk, does that complete today's calendar?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Is there any other business to come? Senator Salim, the senator from Central Fairfax.
Madam President, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As an Asian American and a proud member of Virginia Asian American Pacific Islander Caucus, I'm honored to represent a district with a large and vibrant Asian population. Our Asian American communities are an essential part of Virginia's identity, contributing to our economy, culture, and civic life in countless ways. Today marks the beginning of the new lunar calendar, a time of renewal, reflection, and hope for the year ahead. Often referred to as Chinese New Year, this holiday is celebrated across many Asian cultures, including by our Korean, Vietnamese, and Chinese communities, each with their own unique traditions. In the Korean culture, it is a time for family gathering and honoring ancestors. In the Vietnamese culture, it is a celebration of renewal and a good fortune. In the Chinese traditions, the Year of the Snake symbolizes intelligence, resilience, and love. Lunar New Year is not just a celebration for those who observe it, it is an opportunity for all Virginians to appreciate the diversity of our Commonwealth and learn more about our neighbors. Thank you.
Senator DeStaff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Madam Chair, I rise for an announcement if this is the appropriate time.
The senator may say on.
Madam President, I'd like to announce tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in Senate Room 3 is the Aviation Caucus. On behalf of myself and Senator Perry, we invite you to join us. Again, the Aviation Caucus in Senate Room 3. Thank you.
The clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Wednesday, January the 29th, 2025, the Committee on General Laws and Technology will meet 30 minutes after adjournment, Senate Room B, GAB. The Committee for Courts of Justice will meet 30 minutes after adjournment in Senate Room A, GAB. Tomorrow, Thursday, January 30th, 2025, the Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Health and Human Resources has been canceled. The Hampton Roads Caucus will meet at 7:30 a.m. in the House South Conference Room, Room 700A, GAB. The Committee on Education and Health will meet at 8:30 a.m. in Senate Room A, GAB. Tomorrow, we will honor former Senator Henry L. Marsh. He will lie in state in the old Senate chamber from 10 o'clock until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:15 a.m. in Senate Room 1 of the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:15 a.m. in Senate Room 2 of the Capitol.
Senator Surville, the senator from Eastern Fairfax.
Madam President, I rise for an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like the Courts Committee to try to start 15 after adjournment. The Chairman of Gen Laws has a bill we need to take up. And I also know we have a little bit of committee overlap, and folks need to come proxy in one, go to the other. I want to make sure we can coordinate that smoothly and minimize missing votes in different committees. So 15 minutes after adjournment, which looks like 2 o'clock right now.
Chair calls on Senator Lucas, the senator from Portsmouth.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon on tomorrow.
Question is, shall the Senate stand adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow? All in favor of that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.
Did you know that you can watch the Senate live on YouTube? Visit the channel by browsing to youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. That's youtube.com/@Senate of Virginia. Senate Chamber. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. This is the Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.